So are you thinking about moving to the Chicago suburbs, specifically Elmhurst? Well, I'm here today breaking down the pros and cons, and a lot of videos just talk about the pros and sugarcoat everything, but that's not how I roll. I'm gonna give you true cons that the locals know about this place. I'm also gonna go through the pros, and no better place to start than a local institution. Hamburger heaven. My dad's been coming here forever. He grew up here, and I'm telling you now, there's a little secret here. I heard they changed the root beer recipe, so some of the locals aren't too happy. But today I'm breaking down all the reasons why you may or may not want to move to Elmhurst, Illinois. And I'm telling you, one of my pros might make you change your mind about moving here, and one of my cons may definitely change your mind and make you think maybe this isn't the place for me. So let's get rolling. All right, so I told you there was a con that might make you think twice about moving to Elmhurst. Well, here, Elmhurst is known for having flooding issues. And I am in the epicenter of an area that this place was completely flooded. You could have canoed down these streets. Does that sound appealing to you? Right? So most places, they have flooding in their basements, but Elmhurst actually, because Salt Creek is really close to here, has had some serious flooding issues. And that might make you think twice about here, but they've done a ton of work and put a bunch of money into alleviating that problem. And I'm at one of the places that they've done this. This is one of the pumping stations that they built, and they dug down this reservoir here. And so they have spent millions and millions of dollars to correct this problem. And so since then, in 2016, when they have this massive flood, and literally, like I said, these streets were completely flooded. Some of these basements, some of these places, they bricked them in so that they no longer are usable. They have changed that, they have fixed that issue, and since then, nothing has happened. But we have not had maybe as massive as a rain since 2016, but you definitely want to, if flooding is a concern, you want to give me a call, because I know what areas have flooding, which ones don't, and you may not want to move there. Now, you might get a better value price-wise in these areas, but it is something that I want you to be aware of, and that is a major con for some people thinking about moving to Elmhurst, and probably, in my opinion, the biggest con of moving to Elmhurst. So I mentioned you about flooding. Well, here, as I mentioned, this has been a consistent problem in Elmhurst for a very long time, and this berm was built long time ago, and this is to stop the river from flooding this neighborhood, which did not work in 2016. Why they had to do all of that work over there. But this is a berm showing you that I'm not just talking crap about the flooding. This actually happened, and it's been such a problem that they built this years and years ago. This has been here for a really long time, but just another example of the flooding issue that you do find in Elmhurst. One of the biggest pros, and the reason that a lot of people move to Elmhurst, is its proximity to the city. Some people don't realize how easy it is to get downtown. Not only can you, a lot of people I know who live here, they ride their bikes to the station, they drive to the station, and you can actually park, which is underestimated, because a lot of these communities, you have a metro, but you can't actually park. It's like $3 a day, so it's easy parking, and you can be down in Ogilvie Station in 24 minutes on an express train, and almost all of the express trains in the morning, actually all of them, stop in Elmhurst. So you have a lot of options where you're not waiting 45 minutes, going downtown, being there in 24 minutes, being back in 24 minutes so you can catch your kids' ball games, be home for dinner. It's a big reason that a lot of people move here. That ability to spend time with your family, be home, and still have a suburban vibe here like you do in Elmhurst, but you can be downtown. That also holds true on the weekends. You can get downtown easily and take advantage of all the awesome stuff that Chicago has to offer, and still have that suburban place with great schools, tons of restaurants around here. So a huge pro about Elmhurst is its proximity to the city. And another thing, you have easy access to 290, 294, 88, and to the door. From here, it takes about 15 minutes at most to get to O'Hare. It's one of the closest suburbs to O'Hare. You can be through security. I know some of my clients, or my friends, are through security in 45 minutes at the gate. You can't beat that in almost any other community, especially with all the other amenities here. So if you're a traveler, you do a lot of traveling in O'Hare, Elmhurst might be the place for you. All right, you're thinking about making a move to the Chicago suburbs, and Elmhurst is on your radar. Well, I've been talking about the pros and cons, and right now I want to talk about housing because, well, if you're watching this video, you're probably looking to buy a house. And so Elmhurst is not cheap, and it's only gotten more expensive over time because a lot of the pros that I talk about. So the median price right now is about $625, $635, but one of the things I love about this community is right now I'm in the Elm Estates neighborhood. And what's cool about this is the median sales price last year around this area was like in the 530s. So you're way below the median sales price in Elmhurst. And you can buy houses like this. Now, I'm not saying this house specifically is for that price, but what's cool is it's post-1960s construction, and it's actual livable. If you want to buy a house under 400, 400 to 500 in Oak Park, Evanston right now, chances are it's an old layout, probably needs tons of work. So what's cool is you can be in a house here in the 500,000 range. That they're not super available, but when you find them, you can. A lot of them have footprints that are livable and that you can actually move into. So one thing that's cool about here is you can get a property under $500,000 in Elmhurst. Last year there was 404 properties sold, and 145 of them, or 35%, sold for under 500,000. So while the median is 635-ish, 625 right now, 35% of the homes sold for under $500,000. So you can still get a home in an awesome community with access to downtown and a lot of amenities that you're not going to get for under $500,000 in the Chicago suburbs. I'm going to take you around to some of the other neighborhoods and show you the type of properties you can get in other parts of Elmhurst, because there are a lot of expensive parts of Elmhurst. So I'm in the Elm Estates neighborhood. We're going to tour some other neighborhoods soon. So in terms of housing, of course, you're looking for a house in Elmhurst. If you're watching this video, a lot of people want to be close to the train, and stock close to the train is harder and harder to find, and it's also much more expensive. I showed you the Elm Estates area. Here, I'm in the more historic district right by downtown. And this is a 9-minute walk to the train, and this house behind me last year sold for $1.55 million. So that's a bit of a different range here. So you can get, if you want to be close to the downtown area, close to being able to walk to the metro, which gets you downtown, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, very quickly, you're looking at a much higher price point. But the thing is, you do have houses here that are over $1 million, well over $1 million. I'm going to walk around the corner right now and show you a house that's on the market for $2.6 million. All right, back to housing. Now, one thing, some communities around here in the Chicago suburbs do not have homes over $2 million. Like Oak Park does not have too many homes over $2 million. This house is on the market for $2.6 million. So if you want walkability to downtown Elmhurst, 9-minute walk to the train. This is right next door to the house I just showed you that sold for $1.55 million. But this is a new construction home that's listed at $2.6 million. So you have a massive range in Elmhurst. You have homes as little as $300,000 all the way up to $2.6 million. But really, it's all about location, location, location. So that's what I'm talking about here in Elmhurst. There's a huge range. So really, it's a great community in the sense that if you have a lot of money and you want a brand new home, a tear down, that kind of a thing, you can get it here. If you want a more modest house where you can have great schools, access to downtown Chicago for less than $500,000, you can also get that here too. Those reasons, a lot of people think Elmhurst is a great place to put their roots. So another pro of living in Elmhurst is the trail system. The access to woods, to the river. While it does cause some flooding, it's a great recreational area. I'm here on the Salt Creek Greenway. This connects to the Prairie Path, and it's a really peaceful place. It's not usually, this is a little gem here, it's not usually very crowded. You can come walk the dog, bike here, but there's so many trails that come off of the Prairie Path, which I'm going to show you in this video, and this is one of those, and it's a really cool part about Elmhurst that you have access to recreational opportunities right in your back door. Also, I mentioned pros is recreation. Well, one of the best things about Elmhurst is the Illinois Prairie Path. The Illinois Prairie Path, if you like recreation, you like going on long cycling trips, you like going on hikes and things like that, it is a 61-mile trail system that goes all the way out. It connects to the Great Western Trail. There's all types of side trails on it. It is a really awesome recreational opportunity, and it's right here in Elmhurst. So one of the cool things is you can take this out and you can train back here. You can go have a beer out at some of the breweries out there, and you can train back here. But one of the coolest things about Elmhurst, one of the biggest pros to me, is the recreational opportunities, and the Prairie Path is an absolute gem in the western suburbs, and it runs right through Elmhurst. And I'm going to show you another pro right around the corner right here in a second that I think not a lot of people know about, because everybody's talking about downtown Elmhurst, which we're going to go see, but we're going to go check out this little neighborhood right now next. All right, I'm in a part of Elmhurst you might not know about. Now, everybody loves the downtown. I'm going to talk about the downtown, but I'm in a little part on Spring Road that a lot of the locals go to. And if you don't want to have the parking issues and the traffic with downtown, hit Roberto's Ristorante. This place has been here for decades. It's an anchor of this place. It's an awesome, I mentioned the Prairie Path. When you're on the Prairie Path, you can come here, stop, get a beer, something to drink. You got phase 3 tap room and kitchen over there. You have docks. There are a bunch of restaurants within walking distance of here, and that's one thing that I think is super awesome about Elmhurst. Unlike some of the places like I mentioned, like LaGrange, Hinsdale, where you have just one little area, this is a cool little neighborhood spot that you can come to and not have maybe the hustle and bustle of downtown Elmhurst. So this is a little gem, a little spot. You might want to look at buying a house around this area, and phase 3 might be your little neighborhood brewery. All right, so one of the biggest, if not the biggest con of Elmhurst is what's going on right here, the traffic. Since this place has gone and exploded, the traffic here, I'm at the epicenter. York and North Avenue from here south down to St. Charles is a war zone during rush hour traffic. I got trucks rumbling by me. It might take you a half an hour to get from this side of town to the other side of downtown. So that is, the locals say, my clients say, the people I know who move in here, one of the biggest cons of Elmhurst is the traffic. And it's localized here, but the traffic can be absolutely awful. 83 is no better, so there's a lot of spots in here that you have to know about if you want to be traveling during rush hour, taking your kids to school, dropping them off, getting to work, and it can be brutal. So my biggest con that I hear about in Elmhurst is the traffic, and it's super loud too. All right, so one of the biggest pros of moving to Elmhurst is the school districts. If you're looking to move to the Chicago suburbs, you are probably looking for a place with good school districts. And you can go to places like Great Schools and niche.com, and that's a place to start. But I'm not always big on the school ratings. I think there's deeper things that you should be looking at. But Elmhurst is well known, and that translates to value. But what I want to talk about from the people that I know who've moved here, my friends, my clients, I'm standing outside of Lincoln Elementary School, and they just did a massive capital improvement project throughout all of the districts with the grade schools, the middle schools, and the high school. So one of the things that I want to talk about that's unique to Elmhurst is you have one school district, District 205, which encompasses 8 grade schools, elementary schools. You have Edison, Emerson, and Field. You have Jackson, Jefferson, and Lincoln. And you have Hawthorne and Conrad Fisher. And what's cool about all 8 of those schools is that you can pretty much walk to any of them. If you're in that school district, you can walk to that school, which is awesome. And like I said, the cool thing about having one school district for this is that you have the grade schools, the middle schools, and the high schools all off at the same time. And something else that you probably aren't thinking about is you have one point of contact. The administration is the same. So you get to know the people in the administration. They're very responsive. You are not going to find that on great schools. You're not going to find that on niche. You're only going to find that by working with someone who knows the area. And that is a plus. So you don't have, you have your elementary schools, you get accustomed to one system, then you go to the middle schools, and then you go to the high schools. So that is one thing that's unique about Elmhurst. And so what's cool is Lincoln Elementary School is a brand new constructed school. They have a dedicated STEM lab that they built here. So they've really revamped the grade schools throughout the community. And while the taxes might be high, if you're looking to move here, you are going to be the beneficiary of some really awesome new schools. All right, so it is all about the schools. If you are watching this video, you probably want to know what the high school is like, because high school is such a driving force in our residential real estate around here. So many of these communities, the value revolves around the quality of the high school. But how do you know quality? What does that mean? Well, I'm outside of York High School here in Elmhurst. And so we can go over the ratings. Niche.com rates it as of June 2025 in the top 40 high schools in Illinois. Great Schools has it rated as 7 out of 10. But what does that really mean? Because you know what? The truth is, what's important for you and your family and your child might be different. You might want a great arts program. You might want a good sports program. And so there's some deeper digging that you might want to do here. Now, one of the things that I noticed that was really awesome when I was doing some research here about York High School is that it is 10 out of 10 for college preparedness. And that is something that my clients here and my friends, they say that their kids become extremely well prepared for school, for college. Almost 80% of the student body goes on to graduate from a 4-year university, which is huge. The high school is a driving force because it puts your kids in a position to really do well in college and in future in life. And that's why the high school is such a driver. So York School, is it the right school for your kids? Well, here are some things. And one of the things I'd recommend for you to do is go to the Illinois School Report Card. So the Illinois School Report Card, I highly recommend that you look into that and because you get so much more detail, because what's important to you and your family and your children might be not as important to somebody else. I'll give you an example. One of the things about York High School, it's about 2,700 students, where you have Lyons Township, which is about 4,000, Oak Park similar. So if you want sort of a smaller vibe, a smaller school, Elmhurst might be the school for you. Now, if you can dig so deep into the Illinois School Report Card, you can look at the costs that they spend per student, the number of teachers per student, so you can really dig deep into what's important to you. You can find out how many kids are on the school lunch program, all that kind of stuff. But York is known for having a great arts program, really good sports, and sort of a smaller, closer knit community than some of the other big schools around here. But York is a big reason, the high school here, that people choose Elmhurst. And I would encourage you to dig a little bit deeper if you want to into some of the other metrics, some of the other statistics. But it's got a really, like I said, a community vibe, a little smaller student body than some of the other schools. And it's really well known for really getting kids prepared for college. So that's a little bit about York High School. And so if you think that might be a fit for you, you know, a lot of times what I find is people do is like, they want good schools, of course, but they also want location and the type of houses. So it's sort of this juggling act. So a lot of times, for instance, I have people that are looking in Elmhurst, and then they might look in Downers Grove, and they're looking in LaGrange. And all those three communities, they feel comfortable with the schools. Those are just examples, by the way. But they don't necessarily hone in on just one community, especially with the low inventory that we have right now. That makes it really difficult. But York High School, it's a staple of Elmhurst and a big reason why people choose this community to put roots. All right, so one of the cons about Elmhurst, and you know, for some people this is a pro, some people a con, but this is just the reality, is it's not very diverse. It's 80% white, okay? You look behind me at the basketball court here, pretty much all white kids. I'm just calling it like it is, right? That's something that some people, if that's what you're looking for, you know, I know a lot of people, they'll pick Oak Park or Evanston because they really value diversity. That might or might not be important to you, but it is something to keep in mind when you're looking at the community. And so it's also not super diverse economically. There are parts that are more economically diverse, but you don't have as much diversity. And for some people, that is a con of living in Elmhurst. All right, one of the biggest cons of Elmhurst that I hear from the locals and the people that I know who live here and that I've sold houses to is the train noise. There are so many freight trains around here. There's a switching station, a massive switching station, one of the biggest in the area. And all of the trains stop there. They make a bunch of noise and they're all coming through here. So one of the biggest and most consistent gripes that people have about Elmhurst, and honestly, if train noise is your biggest gripe, it's sort of probably a cool place to live, but that is one of the biggest downsides and one of the biggest cons that I hear about Elmhurst is the wild train noise here and how frequent it is and how loud it can be. Now, a lot of people want to be close to the train to get downtown. Keep in mind, the closer you are to the train, the louder the noise is going to be. I told you there's a pro that might make you want to move to Elmhurst and why a lot of the people I know are choosing to move here, and that is the downtown area. It has completely been transformed in the last 10 or 15 years. It's not the sleepy downtown that my dad grew up in. I used to come here going to the York Movie Theater, which is an old 1920s movie theater, which is awesome. But now behind me, you got luxury apartments. If you are an empty nester, if you want to maybe move here and just check out what this type of lifestyle is like without buying, you can do that. And so one of the biggest pros is all of the restaurants, all of the shops. You have Elmhurst Brewing Company that's newer in town. You have Angelo's Italian restaurant that I think is awesome. You have Francesca's Italian restaurant. There are so many options, and you are still only 30 minutes by train to downtown. So one of the biggest pros, if not the biggest pro, is the amazing downtown that you get. It's like a little city in a little community. All right, so is Elmhurst community for you? Well, maybe, maybe not. I did this video so you could get a feel for the good and the bad of living here, so you can make that decision. So if you're out off Elmhurst, good. You're one step closer to finding the community that works for you. And you might want to check out some of my other videos about some of the other suburbs around here, because I guarantee you, we have over 300 suburbs in Chicago. You are going to be able to find your place. It's going to be a lot easier if you give me a ring so that I can learn what's important to you, so I can write off places like Elmhurst, or maybe I will definitely help you find the place that your family can call home. And if you like what I'm doing, you like this content, subscribe, check out my other videos so you don't miss anything. All right, Elmhurst, yay or nay? Only you and your family can decide.